Basement level vibes with another one, straight up blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and pon the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth.
Yeah, my name is Jasmine Caldata, Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North.
Yeah, my name is Jasmine Caldata, Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man.
Are we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Box on, let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk, body walk, body walk, truck, body walk, body walk, body walk, body. Listen, body jump, 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 hear me sing, so big body can't wear it tight pants, big body jump.
Hi, good night, everybody. I thought I lost you guys there for a moment. Let's get ready and let's focus on this show. Let us focus on this show. Our operator has said, and thank you so much, Lemon, do not come on this show at this time to promote no other show or so-called show that is on. It doesn't matter who is on. Focus on this show. I repeat. Focus, don't let me put Tony Hack on you guys, focus on this show, right, Chandel Griffith? Thank you so much, guys. Focus on this show again. We now about to start this show, y'all come telling us about somebody else's show. We don't want to know about nobody else's show. It could be my grandma. Nah, let me leave my grandmother alone. I love her too much. Yeah. But look how you guys want me to start tonight's program. Good night to all of you, and welcome to Straight Up on 107.1 FM. I'm watching some of your comments. You guys are the Straight Up family. We have been together for a long time. The fact that we have been together for a long time, it has been a healthy relationship. And no, I'm not signing off for good. It has been a healthy relationship. For the most part, we all got along. Some of you went into your chat groups, you talked my name. Some of you went, you talked names again, and you said Ben Shab this and Ben Shab that. And it's okay. That is part of life, right, Brennan Thompson? It is part of life. But just so you know, when you guys are in that chat group and you're talking names, people come back and talk. Can't stop Guyanese. 12 minutes after 9 o'clock. My name is Mark Ben Shab. Where do we start? What do we begin with, guys? Can we start off with cost of living, right? It's, as the person in that video said, cost of living is I. Rhonda Lane, not you. I know, Rhonda Lane, you would never talk my name. Rhonda Lane, look, Rhonda and I didn't start off really nice, right? Rhonda put a little musing on me, but Rhonda tells it like it is, and this is good. But Rhonda and I are like besties right now. Why we are besties? We agree on things and we also disagree on things, but we respect each other. And that is how democracy should be. Not because somebody disagrees with you, you want run them down, you want, all manner of things. I've had some people who were supposed to be people who were fighting for telling me F off, F you, mom. Wow. I'm like, wow, where the heck that came from? And the abusing part and the cuss out part and all these sort of things, and feel that is politics, that is fighting for anything. No. I mean, look, if we're on the same team, so to speak, why you want to focus on me? Why you want to cuss me out? Because I don't agree with you? I don't curse you out because I disagree with you or anybody. Only the trench crappos we go after, right, Tony Hack? Anyways, the sanctions. Let's not forget the sanctions. I want to touch on some other things, right? And I promise you guys that I want to touch on the situation between those guys in the PNC, the leader of the PNCR, Aubrey Norton, and allegations that were made by Vanessa Kissoon, former member of parliament and current councillor out there in the Linden municipality. I'll touch on that briefly. You want to hear my take on it, I'll touch on it. But before we get to that, though, I know, guys, I know. And the PPP is just right where they are, to be beaten, badly beaten, because they have corrupted the country. All manner of things they have done. All manner of things they have done to Guyana. And look where we are, guys. Look where we are. I got a few messages from some folks, and they were pretty much. I don't even want to read the messages. Sorry, but what we've got to do, we've got to focus, guys. Too much bad blood. Too many folks with bad blood cussing out. Who this? I mean, a very senior member of the PNCR told me earlier this afternoon in a message. And let me read this message without calling the name of the individual. This person said, and I quote, "This afternoon, I felt so sad that this is what is happening within the PNC. Very sad," end of quote. That's from a very senior PNCR person. Not as active as used to be, but, I don't know if I should start off with a prayer. I don't know if I should start off just going right after the PPP. What do you guys say? Come on, all of you, right after the PPP. Bernadette James, how are you doing? Sharon James, good to see you. Good to see all of you. And some who usually curse me, they're peeping right now. I know they're peeping. I'm looking at some of your comments. I'm reading it. And okay, let's go, guys. Everett Leonard, how are you? And those of you who have shared the link, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. We appreciate everything. All of you, we appreciate. And if you notice, I don't put up nothing any longer. No Cash App, no Zelle, no nothing. Because 1 and 2, you guys go back and tell people that bench are begging. I don't want nobody to tell me them things. Because in a struggle, these things are necessary, but not for some kind of Guyanese people. Why they're strange. They're really strange. All right, here's what I want to deal with first. We will get going. Thank you so much. Lemon is now settling in. But what do you guys think of this? Anil Nandalal. Let's start off with Anil Nandalal. He's saying here the U.S. sanctions will not negatively affect Guyana's anti-money laundering image. Will not affect. Now, I sent this to some folks over in the U.S. and they laughed right away. They all laughed about this because any sanctions, serious sanctions, will have a negative effect on the anti-money laundering image because people will obviously have the view that the PPP regime isn't doing much at all to cut out, to stamp the money laundering in Guyana. They're not doing much at all. They only would pretend as though they're doing something when they know Uncle Sam and others are after them. That's all. But in the long run, they just do not do anything much for that. All right, somebody messaged me asking me what's going on with the AFC's Congress. The AFC Congress, it is what it is. The AFC is not strong as it used to be. If you ask me, the AFC is just going down and down and down. And so they're fighting for leadership right now. Lots of fighting going on all over. Not just in one party, all the parties. And don't think for a moment that the PPP guys are infighting, They are fighting and viciously. But the only thing we are not seeing it, a lot of it publicly, but very soon we will see and we will hear disagreements within the PPP. They're covering it up right now because remember they are in government. And once they're in government, guess what? They just they are not going to be fighting as much if they were in the opposition. And when they get into the opposition, very soon, you will see exactly what it's about. They will start fighting. They're going to chop up Mati. They're going to take slinging shot. They're going to take a bow and arrow. And they are going to fight and destroy each other. Just watch. The very PPP. The only reason, again, I repeat that they're not saying much, they're not fighting much publicly, is because they're comfortable in their respective ministries. And they're not going to fight. They're going to make the money and do what they got to do, but wait until they get out of office. Just wait until. But the AFC trying the thing. They're not as strong as they used to be. They've gotten very, 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 very not so strong, mind you. Um, so looking at some of your comments, indeed, it's what is it, Juneteenth? It's a holiday in the United States for the most part. I saw one guy went to work this morning, Hollingsworth. Strange folks, man. He got up, got dressed, go to work, and didn't realize it was a holiday. Laverne Joseph, how are you doing? All right, let's get ready now. The situation, this is it. Vanessa Kissoon. Vanessa Kissoon says she was sexually harassed by Mr. Aubrey Norton, who is the leader of the opposition. Mr. Aubrey Norton has denied ever sexually harassing female member of the party. In other words, Mr. Norton is saying, no, 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 no. I never did that. I just never did. And so we will go now to a couple minutes of what Miss Vanessa Kissoon is alleging. And just before we begin, I just ask of you guys to keep it respectful, regardless of how you feel on all sides. Just keep it respectful, please. So we'll go to this first couple minutes of what Ms. Kissoon had to say earlier today.
My name is Vanessa Kissoon, former Member of Parliament, teacher by profession, councillor at Linden Mayor and Town Council, women's rights activist, and most of all, a mother of 4. This afternoon, I will be reading a statement following all that has been happening most recently on social media. PNCR members, supporters, fellow Guyanese, I have served the people of this country with pride at the highest level of decision making. Many women, young people, persons of all ages, class, and race look to me for leadership and expect me to do what is right. I am committed to their expectations of me as a female advocate and role model, a politician, a teacher, and most of all, a mother. There is a social media story that is taking on various proportions and shapes after a statement was released by one Eglon Gomes, whom I acknowledge to have had a conversation with some time back, with a third party being present. I did not in said conversation approve of Mr. Gomes taking my story public for any purpose whatsoever. However, despite what I saw this morning and what Mr. Norton is saying, that I have never traveled in his car, I would like you to know that I've traveled in Mr. Norton's car on several occasions, him and I being alone in the car, because Mr. Norton, as I've always seen him, is a political comrade. Mr. Norton and I, as political comrades, would have attended a funeral in Linden. And after the funeral service and we were leaving the Christiansburg Cemetery, Mr. Norton offered me a ride home. I did not refuse because this is a comrade. However, while we were on our journey, Mr. Norton suddenly stopped the car and I heard the locks. As you know, when a car is locked, it clicks. He then looked at me. I was in the passenger seat, he's the driver. And he showed me his gun in his foot. And he said, this is where he normally carries his gun. And then he further said to me, if I put this gun to your head and rape you, what would you do? I froze because I became very fearful for my life. I was speechless. I almost wet my skin that day because here is a comrade, one that I held as a comrade, doing this to me. And I looked Mr. Norton in his eyes and I said to him, because at that time I said to myself, you have to be strong. And I said to him, I ain't afraid of that, nor you scunt. And you gonna have to fucking kill me. However, Mr. Norton did not carry out those threats or desires. But I have carried the burden of this threat, disrespect, and violation for years. And I did tell a few of my other comrades who I see as confidants about this story. Oh my goodness. I want to say at this time, Mr. Norton has never been anything to me but a political comrade.
All right, so that was earlier during the course of the day, Miss Vanessa Kissoon saying what she is alleging that Mr. Aubrey Norton did to her. That was earlier today, and we want to head over to Mr. Aubrey Norton so that you guys can hear what Mr. Norton said, which was earlier in the day. Let's just say that Mr. Norton has refuted everything. The headline in Stabroek News, Norton denies sexually harassing female member of the party. And that female member is Vanessa Kissoon. He is denying that. We'll go to this clip where Mr. Norton spoke earlier today.
Good morning to all Guyanese and those in the diaspora. Let me state at the outset that I saw a malicious and false post by one Eglon Gomes, contending that there's some allegation of sexual harassment against me. I repeat, it is false and malicious. I wish to make it very clear that at no time in my life did Sharma Solomon ever ask me to drop Vanessa Kissoon to Linden. Secondly, at no time Vanessa Kissoon and I were in any vehicle alone heading to Linden. All of these claims are false and malicious. I wish to call on Sharma Solomon and Vanessa Kissoon to speak to this issue, since failure to do so will suggest that they are complicit in this false and malicious post. I've instructed my lawyers to take legal action on this matter. May I also state that I see it as part of a political plot, since I have out-nominated my contenders, and Eglon Gomes is known to be campaigning for one of the persons contending in these elections. I repeat to all Guyanese, at no stage was I ever involved in sexually harassing anybody in this country or overseas.
Yeah, that's Mr. Aubrey Norton, the leader of the opposition, and he is denying every single thing. He has denied everything, and we'll go back into that.
Good morning to all Guyanese and those in the diaspora. Let me state at the outset that I saw a malicious and false post by one Eglon Gomes, contending that there's some allegation of sexual harassment against me. I repeat, it is false and malicious. I wish to make it very clear that at no time in my life did Sharma Solomon ever ask me to drop Vanessa Kissoon to Linden. Secondly, at no time Vanessa Kissoon and I were in any vehicle alone heading to Linden. All of these claims are false and malicious. I wish to call on Shama Solomon and Vanessa Kissoon to speak to this issue, since failure to do so will suggest that they are complicit in this false and malicious post. I've instructed my lawyers to take legal action on this matter. May I also state that I see it as part of a political plot, since I have out-nominated my contenders, and Eglon Gomes is known to be campaigning for one of the persons contending in these elections. I repeat to all Guyanese, at no stage was I ever involved in sexually harassing anybody in this country or overseas.
Sorry about that, guys. That's Mr. Aubrey Norton, the leader of the opposition, is saying, no, 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 no. That's not true. That's not true at all. I am looking at some of your comments. Some of you are saying, why now? Why now? It is not for me to sit here and try to figure out why now. I don't know why now, but it's for me, it's not relevant. I'll tell you the why now, because a lot of people just come out and they say, hey, well, why didn't you do it back then? Why now? Why now? That's the question. I'm reading your comments there. Why now? That's the question. That's just the question. Why now? But let's go back to Ms. Kissoon.
I was in the passenger seat, he's the driver. And he showed me his gun in his foot. And he said, this is where he normally carries his gun. And then he further said to me, if I put this gun to your head and rape you, what would you do? I froze because I became very fearful for my life. I was speechless. I almost wet my skin that day because here is a comrade, one that I held as a comrade, doing this to me. And I looked Mr. Norton in his eyes and I said to him, because at that time I said to myself, you have to be strong. And I said to him, I ain't afraid of that, nor you scunt. Are you gonna have to fucking kill me? However,
let me just pause for a moment and say to you guys, I know emotions are getting very, very heated. They are for, they are against. It's okay to be for, it's okay to be against. But what I'm going to ask that you guys do not use certain language. Do not address her as the B, with the B word. Do not do that, right? It's okay to disagree. It's okay to say that you don't believe her. It is okay. That is your opinion. It is okay to say you believe her as well. But if you're going to disagree with her, please do it respectfully. Do not call her the B word at all. Let's do it respectfully. And those of you who believe her story and you're addressing Aubrey Compton Norton, the leader of the opposition, do not use derogatory terms either. And I hope you guys can respect and understand that. But let's continue, please.
not carry out those threats or desires. But I have carried the burden of this threat, disrespect, and violation for years. And I did tell a few of my other comrades who I see as confidants about this story. Oh my goodness. I want to say at this time Mr. Norton has never been anything to me but a political comrade. Since my story has gone public without me initiating it, as it was my right, I state that that was wrong, regardless of the motive. Being forced to deal with this publicly as a result of actions of another hurts. I can only say to those who, like me, are victims, take control of your experiences before others do so for you. Mr. Norton may have missed the times we are in and the value placed in protecting women and girls. No one should be subject to such inappropriate sexual advances and threats. To those men and women who have allowed politics and not what is right to influence your judgment of the situation, you have a lot to learn about abuse and sexual misconduct.
All right, if you're now joining us,
I recall how...
Sorry about that. Miss Vanessa Kissoon telling her side of the story. And let me just repeat before we move on, because we do want to move on. And I have a statement to make before we move on. Let's go back. For those of you who missed it, Mr. Aubrey Norton has denied the allegations.
Good morning to all Guyanese and those in the diaspora. Let me state at the outset that I saw a malicious and false post by one Eglon Gomes, contending that there's some allegation of sexual harassment against me. I repeat, it is false and malicious. I wish to make it very clear that at no time in my life did Sharma Solomon ever ask me to drop Vanessa Kissoon to Linden. Secondly, at no time Vanessa Kissoon and I were in any vehicle alone heading to Linden. All of these claims are false and malicious. I wish to call on Sharma Solomon and Vanessa Kissoon to speak to this issue, since failure to do so will suggest that they are complicit in this false and malicious post. I've instructed my lawyers to take legal action on this matter. May I also state that I see it as part of a political plot, since I have out-nominated my contenders, and Eglon Gomes is known to be campaigning for one of the persons contending in these elections. I repeat to all Guyanese, at no stage was I ever involved in sexually harassing anybody in this country or overseas.
All right, so you've heard Mr. Aubrey's side. Aubrey Norton, the leader of the opposition, has denied the allegations. He has called upon Ms. Vanessa Kissoon to come out publicly and say what she knows about the issue. Hours after the leader of the opposition called for that, Ms. Vanessa Kissoon came out to say something totally different from what Mr. Aubrey Norton said earlier. In other words, there's this contradiction. Mr. Norton is saying it never happened. He never, nobody ever asked him. He was never in any vehicle alone with Ms. Vanessa Kissoon. Hours later, Ms. Vanessa Kissoon said, that's not true. They were in the vehicle and he did X, Y, and Z. And that it was Sharma Solomon who asked for him to give Vanessa Kissoon a ride along those lines. And Mr. Norton has called on Mr. Solomon to say something as well. And it's only fair that at some point in time, Mr. Solomon, who is the mayor of Linden, should also issue a statement. And now here's where we go with this here now. These are serious. It is a serious allegation. And this matter should be dealt with immediately. They should have an emergency meeting at the central, the Central Executive Committee level. They need to discuss this issue immediately. This is an urgent matter that should be discussed with all parties involved. And then they will decide, along with Ms. Vanessa Kissoon, the course of action. But the more this continues to be out there in the public, the more it's going to turn. And this has nothing to be, I'm not being insensitive to this matter at all. I'm just saying that it ought to be dealt with expeditiously. And these are serious allegations that should not be thrown under the rug for the sake or all because of political expediency. It should not be swept under the rug. Mr. Norton has said nothing ever happened. It simply says that he has nothing to hide. Ms. Vanessa Kissoon has said X, Y, and Z. She is seeking some sort of justice, so to speak. And so both sides are aggrieved. One is saying, look, I'm a victim. The other one is saying that they're a victim also of the political climate. And now all I'm saying is they need to deal with this matter because it's just not nice. It's not right. It's not nice. It's not fair for all parties involved, but more so the individual who is saying that something of that nature, sexual harassment, and she feels that she is the victim in all of this and she needs some form of justice. We should not be pushing these things under the rug, maybe because we like Aubrey. Those who support Aubrey are going to defend Aubrey. Those who don't like Aubrey are going to attack Aubrey Norton. But let us keep in mind that this is a serious allegation. These are serious allegations, and we have to, at the central executive level, they have to get to the bottom of this in resolving the issue. Because the longer it takes, it's not going to be a good thing for the opposition as we prepare for general and regional elections. That's all my say on the matter. I know both parties. I know Ms. Vanessa Kissoon. I would say that I've known her over the years. We have been in the struggle together. We don't see eye to eye on every issue, but we respect each other's approach in the struggle. The same with Mr. Norton. I have known him for almost 30 years. We agree on some issues and we disagree on some issues, but we have always been cordial with each other. Regardless of what, we have been cordial with each other. I know that over the situation in Linden, I've had the opportunity to work closely with Mr. Norton, Mr. Solomon, when he was regional chairman of Region 10, and Ms. Kissoon when she was an MP, in organizing a trip for them in the US, meetings. We have met some politicians, some senators, some congresswomen, congressmen, a visit to the State Department to talk about the situation there in Guyana. And I saw that camaraderie. I saw that friendship. It was there. 2012, that friendship, that camaraderie, it was there. I don't know what happened, but it's not for me to figure out what has happened. Let the CEC and those senior members of the party deal with this issue immediately. Do not curse out Vanessa and call her all sort of names. Do not do that, guys. I know how some of you feel, especially those Aubrey supporters, but do not curse her out at all. We don't know what happened. She is saying X happened. He is saying, no, it didn't happen. But we don't know what happened. We got to figure it out. And the central executive guys are the ones who should be doing that. The elders of the party, a meeting should have been convened already with all parties, including lawyers on both sides. What else can we discuss, guys? What else can we discuss? What else can we discuss? It's 9:44. I'm just going to call it a night, guys. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to call it a night. Initially, I asked the Caesar to come on. I noticed our operator is signaling that Mr. Caesar is on with us. And I was just about to say goodbye to you guys for now. But I want to talk to Mr. Caesar about another subject, which is the sanction. And we will deal specifically with the sanction, and we will call it a night. But the central executive should be dealing with this issue. Kim Walker, yeah, indeed. A bit tired. It's been a hectic day with the kids. It's a holiday, but we were very busy. Let me go over to my brother, Mr. Wayne Caesar. Nice tie. Let's talk about the sanction, Mr. Caesar. Good night to you, sir.
Good evening, Mark. Good evening to all our listeners and viewers. I just thought I would drop in quickly tonight.
Yeah, and we appreciate you dropping in. Let's get straight down to business. Anil Nandalal is saying the U.S. sanctions will not negatively affect Guyana's anti-money laundering. The sanctions wouldn't affect the anti-money? I don't know, man. Mr. Caesar?
Mark, that statement, he's not meaning what he's saying there at all. It's gonna affect Guyana terribly. This is gonna have a major impact on the country from a holistic perspective. Mark, we're talking, listen, this is not just this one situation. We have seen many instances of the same thing. It is consistent with Guyana. I don't know what this unlearned attorney general is talking about. Of course, it's going to have a negative effect on the country. Of course. We're talking about large scale, Mark. Large scale smuggling of gold, amongst other things, out of the country without taxes being levied correctly. Well, no taxes at all is being levied on these things that are being, these commodities that are being taken out of the country. It has a very negative effect, Mark, overall on the economy of Guyana because it is not being reported. Therefore, it is not being counted. And that is not good. So how can he say that the sanctions is not going to affect Guyana and Guyana's image? Most definitely it's going to affect Guyana and Guyana image. And Mark, this is not the end of it. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There is much, much more to come. This is early stages, Mark. It is very early. And Nandalal has to be careful because there's a great chance that he can be a part of it also. So he needs to be extremely careful. And Mark,
what about... Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
Let me just say this. I wanted to say this quickly. There is some internal stuff that is going on in the opposition, Mark. Don't let Jack Dio come into this press conference and think he's going to use that tomorrow. That's a party issue. We are not going to lose track. The people are focused. They understand what the PPP is doing to the country. This is local issues. It will handle itself. They'll figure that out at the party level. But let's keep focused. Let's remain focused on this PPPC regime that must be removed in 2025. So Jack Dio could come tomorrow and try to talk about Mr. Norton. Mr. Norton is not guilty of punishing the people of Guyana. Mr. Norton is not guilty of sitting there occupying a seat and just enriching yourself. And the people of Guyana cannot get a taste of their oil patrimony. So don't worry with the little stuff that is playing out on social media and in the news right now. It's going to all take care of itself. We have a bigger job at hand. The people of Guyana have a bigger job at hand. I am not saying that what occurred should not be addressed. It needs to be addressed, yes. But we cannot allow what occurred to affect an entire nation and poor people who are struggling. We have to stay focused on this fight. Guyana needs a new government. The country needs to move forward. Over to you, Mr. Benchcott.
Thank you so much. Well said, Mr. Caesar. At the end of the day, they have to resolve the matter. They have to resolve the matter. It ought not to be swept under the rug, and the faster they resolve it, the better for all parties involved. The better for all parties. It's a serious allegation that's being leveled. International folks don't take those allegations seriously at all. I mean, they take those allegations seriously. Sorry, they do. And all eyes are right now fixated on this particular situation. Eyes inside of Guyana, eyes outside of Guyana are focused. And the sooner they resolve this, the better for all. And at the end of the day, what is probably, when I say better for all, nobody knows how they feel. Nobody knows how Miss Vanessa Kissoon is feeling right now to talk what she believes to be her story, what she is claiming happened to her. What Mr. Aubrey Norton is also feeling is that he has been hurt by the alleged, he is claiming that it is not true. She is claiming that it is true. She is claiming that she's the victim of Mr. Aubrey Norton's sexual advances. Mr. Aubrey Norton is claiming that he's the victim of political spite and political hatchet job, so to speak. So we need to get to the bottom of it. And again, as I said, there will be emotions. Be very careful with your emotions. It's okay though. But if we are going to go out, like I see some of you on social media, cost, it's going to make the situation worse. Your closing remarks, sir, as we remind the people of the sanctions and the corruption by Barajat deal. Closing. Your microphone, Mr. Caesar. Yep, go ahead, sir.
Mark, in closing tonight, we know that there are some issues currently going on in the party right now, but we also have issues to deal with from Guyana's perspective as a country. And I feel like if we all need to continue to focus on that, everything is going to work itself out. You know, we have allegations coming from both sides in the party, from Ms. Kissoon and from CDE Norton. They're going to get together, their attorneys and these people, they're going to determine what's going to happen there. But there's a country to run. We need to see the opposition up and running. We don't need to see the MPs just occupying seats, but everybody needs to be executing their duties. We could only have one leader at a time, can't have 5 or 6 different leaders. So you have the biennial Congress that is going to be coming up at the end of this month here. Once a leader is selected or elected, everybody need to fall in behind that leader, and we need to focus on winning an election come 2025. The Guyanese people have been punishing for way too long. It's about time, you know, that we see some change in the country. The PPPC would have had their shot for the last 4 years. Next year is going to be 5 with the oil revenue and an oil producing country. And they have done absolutely nothing for the Guyanese people. Infrastructure is not the answer. The people have been living with the same old infrastructure that was done during the time of Lyndon Forbes, Samson Bournham, and was dealing with it and doing okay. I think the Guyanese people need money in their pocket. Inflation and cost of living is really affecting the people. And a lot of people try to blame things on inflation and cost of living, but it's wages. The Guyanese people need to be paid more, and that should start with our teachers. So nobody should be coming on their press conference tomorrow and looking to pick up party issues to talk about. And those reporters that attend those press conferences, Mark, they need to get on their game and ask, pertinent, relevant questions, and stop asking little dolly house type questions.
Yep.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Wayne Caesar. I appreciate your time. And to all of our listeners, Golly God and the whole crew, all of you, thank you all so much as well for your time this evening. It's a holiday, still a holiday, still got a couple of hours remaining. However, we have, as of tomorrow, we will be dealing with some other matters right here on 107.1 FM. But the main matter is that we do believe that the PNCR should deal with the allegations that Ms. Kissoon has made against the opposition leader, Mr. Aubrey Norton. They should deal with it expeditiously. Thank you so much, Mr. Caesar, for your time, sir. Appreciate it. And to all of you, those of you who are now joining, we're now out of here. It's 9:55. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Thank you, Wayne. And thanks to all of you. God bless.
Good morning to all Guyanese and those in the diaspora. Let me state at the outset that I saw a malicious and false post by one Eglon Gomes contending that there's some allegation of sexual harassment against me. I repeat, it is false and malicious. I wish to make it very clear that at no time in my life did Sharma Solomon ever ask me to drop Vanessa Kissoon to Linden. Secondly, at no time Vanessa Kissoon and I were in any vehicle alone heading to Linden. All of these claims are false and malicious. I wish to call on Sharma Solomon and Vanessa Kissoon to speak to this issue, since failure to do so will suggest that they are complicit in this false and malicious post. I've instructed my lawyers to take legal action on this matter. May I also state that I see it as part of a political plot, since I have out-nominated my contenders, and Eglon Gomes is known to be campaigning for one of the persons contending in these elections. I repeat to all Guyanese, at no stage was I ever involved in sexually harassing anybody in this country or overseas.
My name is Vanessa Kissoon, former Member of Parliament, teacher by profession, councillor of the Linden Mayor and Town Council, women's rights activist, and most of all, a mother of 4. This afternoon, I will be reading a statement following all that has been happening most recently on social media. PNCR members, supporters, fellow Guyanese, I have served the people of this country with pride at the highest level of decision making. Many women, young people, persons of all ages, class, and race look to me for leadership and expect me to do what is right. I am committed to their expectations of me as a female advocate and role model, a politician, a teacher, and most of all, a mother. There is a social media story that is taking on various proportions and shapes after a statement was released by one Eglon Gomes, whom I acknowledge to have had a conversation with some time back, with a third party being present. I did not in said conversation approve of Mr. Gomes taking my story public for any purpose whatsoever. However, despite what I saw this morning and what Mr. Norton is saying, that I have never traveled in his car, I would like you to know that I've traveled in Mr. Norton's car on several occasions, him and I being alone in the car, because Mr. Norton, as I've always seen him, is a political comrade. Mr. Norton and I, as political comrades, would have attended a funeral in Linden. And after the funeral service and we were leaving the Christiansburg Cemetery, Mr. Norton offered me a ride home. I did not refuse because This is a comrade. However, while we were on our journey, Mr. Norton suddenly stopped the car, and I heard the locks. As you know, when a car is locked, it clicks. He then looked at me. I was in the passenger seat. He's the driver. And he showed me his gun in his foot. And he said, this is where he normally carries his gun. And then he further said to me, if I put this gun to your head and rape you, what would you do? I froze because I became very fearful for my life. I was speechless. I almost wet my skin that day because here is a comrade, one that I held as a comrade, doing this to me. And I looked Mr. Norton in his eyes and I said to him, because at that time I said to myself, you have to be strong. And I said to him, I ain't afraid of that, nor you, scunt. Are you gonna have to fucking kill me?